Good morning. Welcome to our daily devotion. It is Thursday, January 28th. I thank those of you that continue to watch these videos. Especially thank those of you that share them to get the word out to more and more people. Means a lot. I've devoted my life to this, and by you joining in with me, we can just do that much more. So I appreciate each one of you, okay? Good morning, Gloria. Good morning, Marcy. We're in Matthew 6:24. Interesting verse to Jesus here. Remember, we had just talked about storing up treasures in heaven, not treasures here on earth. Where the important ones are the ones when we get to heaven for eternity. So now he goes on to tell us this. Morning, John. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Paul. It says, no one can serve two masters. Either they will hate the one and love the other, or they will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Now, what does Jesus mean with this? Morning, Eddie. Morning, Serena. You can't. First of all, you have to see that he said. Jesus says, serve. You can't serve two masters. This means making a master of either God or money. And when something is your master, you serve them. You put them first. They have to come first. They're your master. So by serving God as your master means that you put God over everything in your life. You serve him. You're devoted to God. But when you put money as your master means that you put money over your life and you serve that money. You're devoted to that money. Serving money doesn't necessarily mean being rich. Doesn't mean being rich. It just means wanting more and more and more wealth, or refusing to let go of what you have. You spend your life going that direction, seeking more and more and more. Or if you love God, you spend your life chasing after God, seeking God to get to know him more and more. And what Jesus says is trying to serve both would be like having two major businesses. If you serve one, make that one business a master and serve it, be devoted to it, then you naturally would neglect the other one. Or if heaven forbid, God allowed this, where you could have two wives, two spouses, and you served one, you devoted yourself to one of your spouses, and neglected the other, you would naturally neglect the other. So Jesus is saying, if you devote yourself to money, to serve it as your master, then you're gonna, that's gonna be what's in your heart. That's what you're gonna be chasing after, and God kind of tails behind. But if you serve God, making him your master, devoted to him, then money kind of trails behind. Now, Jesus was aware of the scribes and the Pharisees, and a lot of what he shares here in Matthew is talking about the scribes, the Pharisees, the priests at that time, who were supposed to be serving God, but they were much more concerned with being wealthy. They would take advantage of their spiritual position even to make wealth. Listen here in Matthew 21, verses 12 and 13. It says, Jesus entered the temple area and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said, my house is to be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. What happened is people would come to make their animal sacrifices, and the priest would say that their animal's not good enough. They have to buy one that's unblemished, or they traveled great distances and they didn't bring an animal with them, and they would have to buy one there, and they would gouge them. They would overprice them. They were in the tabernacle area, which is where they were not supposed to be, and here they had made that tabernacle area a place of business, of buying and selling. So the priest were more concerned about making money than they were about making sacrifices to atone for the people's sins. They were just using it to make money. And so that's why Jesus even says, you can't serve both God and money. And unfortunately, we see that today. I looked this up, and I hesitate to use names, but you'll recognize some of them. Pastors of mega churches that are becoming multimillionaires. People are giving their money to the church, and they are taking it and becoming wealthy. Kenneth Copeland is worth $760 million. A pastor worth $760 million. Pat Robertson, $100 million. Joel Osteen, you're probably very familiar with him. He's on TV a lot today. Worth $40 million. These people have their own private jets, and they have mansions that they live in, and they drive fancy cars. Who are they really serving? Who are they really serving? Are they serving God or money? Who's their real master? God or money? Who are they really devoted to? God or money? Well, Jesus is asking us the same question. You can sit there and say, well, I don't have millions of dollars. I don't even have a savings. But Jesus would still ask us that same question. Are you willing? Here's one of the thermometers, I believe. It took a long time for me to learn this in my Christian walk also. But one of the thermometers is, are you willing to give? Are you willing to give to your church or to people in need? How much are you willing to give? Because you can say, I don't serve money. I don't serve money. I love God. But do you give to God? Do you give to God? Morning, Michelle. Morning, Brian. Morning, Rob. Morning, Roz. Do you give to God? Do you give to your church? For Collision, we take special offerings. When's the last time you gave to your church? If you go to Collision, when's the last time you gave to our special offerings for poor people, for the ministry for the poor? Listen to this. We have averaged so far this year, now we're almost done with January. We've had 4 Sundays. We've averaged 5 offerings per Sunday for Collision. 5 offerings per Sunday. We've averaged 6 offerings for special offerings, and most of the people that give to the special offerings are the same ones that give to the regular offerings. So the total average between both of them is 7. 7 people give to either the special offering or the church. 7. What is that? What is that saying? What is that saying? Ask yourself. When was the last time you gave? And the thing is, if you go to Collision, and even those that don't, you've heard me share it enough times. We don't waste your money. We're not becoming rich off of it. I don't even get paid. I volunteer. Everybody volunteers their time. So 100% of the money you give goes directly to where it's supposed to go. So if you give to a special ministry, 100% goes to it. All of it. Man, other organizations can't say that. When you give to the church, 100% of it goes to helping people. Other churches can't say that. Yet, only 5 per Sunday? What is that telling us? Let me read it again. No one can serve 2 masters. Either they will hate the one and love the other, or they will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Now, some strong words in here. Strong words in there. Hate one, despise one. Those are strong words that God is using. And we don't have time this morning to get into it all, but boy, we know that the love of money is the root of all evil. Greed is evil, comes from the evil one. So when you are greedy, when money becomes that important in your life, that's greed. That's following the evil one. Let me just close with a little story that I've shared before, at different times. This guy dies and goes to heaven. And when he gets into heaven, St. Peter meets him there and says, welcome into heaven. You made it. Let me take you to where you're going to be spending eternity. So they're walking by some incredible mansions, and his eyes are just like this big. And then they keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and finally there's just little shacks. And they get all the way to the end of the road, and there's just a little old shack there, and he takes the key and gives the key to the gentleman. And the gentleman says, well, wait a minute, St. Peter. We went by all those other ones. How come I get this little shack here? And St. Peter said, well, we did the best we could with the money that you sent us. Where's your treasure in heaven? What are you giving God? Ask yourself that. What are you giving God? Remember what I shared before. It's not how much. Remember the widow lady? Jesus says she gave more than the people that were given a lot of money. It's not about how much you give. It's how much you're willing to give of what you have. I hope God spoke to you. I trust that some of you, or maybe many of you, well, it's kind of the same thing with sharing. So few give and so few share. It's like, how much of a heart do you have for others? How much of a heart do you have for others? Because giving means helping others. Sharing means helping others to grow in their faith. Where's your heart at? Share, give. God gave to you. He wants you to give back to him. God bless you. Have a great day. Tonight is our Bible study as we continue going through the book of Acts. We're going to talk about an interesting subject tonight, sorcery, divination. Hope many of you join us. If not, I'll see you tomorrow morning at our regular daily devotion at 8 o'clock. God bless you and have a great day. Share if it means something to you. Amen.